Hello and welcome back to the Power Builder Fundamentals self-guided course. In Lab 9 of Unit 9, let's have a look at the lab setup. We're going to create an additional data window here using the freeform presentation style for data entry on the customer table. We're going to enhance all the data window objects that we built thus far, and we're going to assign a drop-down data window called DDW States as an edit style for both customer data window objects. Remember, the new data window that you're going to build called dCustomerMod is going to pick up the state column. We don't want to display the state code, we want to display the state name and make it a little bit more friendly for the business user. So we're going to use a drop-down data window for this aspect. Also remember, in earlier units we built an internet phone edit mask and attached that into the database for extended attributes. That should be picked up as well when you build the new data window objects. So think about these questions as you go through the labs. Can you alter extended attributes assigned in the database in the data window painter? Also, when you deploy the application, do you have to include the data window objects that are used only for drop-down data window edit styles? For example, that DDW states. Or are those data window objects used at development time only? Also, what is a query object? It's basically a select statement. But you can base that select statement and use it on multiple data window objects using that same SQL query or select statement. The select statement is copied, not inherited. Advantage of queries, of course, ease of SQL reuse because data window objects cannot be inherited. You can enforce uniform result set columns among related data window objects, which is useful when you start sharing data using the share data command. Have a look at that in the Power Builder IDE help. Notice that the share data command is not covered in the Power Builder Fundamentals course, but is covered in more detail in the advanced Power Builder courses. So to create a query, there are two approaches. Create the query independently using the query painter, or save an SQL statement for an existing data window object in the data source view as an SQL query object. So to create a query from scratch, select File New. In the Database tab, select the query option. That's going to, of course, put you into the SQL Painter, just like you were building an SQL Select from the Data Window Wizard. However, for an existing data window, open the data window, return to the data source, which is the SQL Painter, and then do a File Save As, and select the query option. That's going to save it in a Power Builder library. In Lab 9, we have a bonus lab. Both the customer data window object use the same column set and can potentially share the same data. So a query object here might help you enforce the uniformity of the column set in a select statement. This will give you practice in creating a query object. Note that if you change a query later, are there changes reflected in the data window objects based on that query? Think about that. And do you have to deploy a query object with your application? Get ready now for the self-assessment for Lab 9. Get ready to test your knowledge of both Unit 9 and Lab 9 materials that you just covered. Congratulations, you completed Lab 9. Please click the link in the center of the screen to proceed to the next unit.